Hello, hello, my crazy crafting friends. This is Sunny at Creative Therapy, and I'm just doing this quick little insert of information in front of part one of the mini album. I was going to complete the mini album before I put out the videos, and I was going to do it in two videos. One for the construction and then the second one for the decorating. The reason I've changed my mind is twofold. For one, I am still waiting for one of the elements that I'm going to need for decorating the cover. I wanted to show how to do some really cool burlap flowers. And the other thing is I'm starting a new job today, and the hours are going to be whack for the first 2 weeks of training. So I'm going to be working 4 to midnight. So I have no idea what my energy levels might be like, in all honesty. So just letting you know that that's why I am going to go ahead and release these two videos before the project is actually complete. So here's a little sneak peek. It is not done by any means, but you know, the basics are there, and the how-to for everything I've done thus far is contained in parts 1 and 2. There will be a part 3 on how I finish with the embellishments and the decorating and this and that. It just may be a while before I get part 3 out. So I thought I would go ahead and put 1 and 2 out for you guys to get started working on your mini album. And this is the Farmers Market collection, the BoBunny Farmers Market, the same collection that I did the crate out of. If anybody watched that, here's the little crate. There you go. There's the crate. These can be used together if you want. If you wanted to gift, you know, do a double gift and then put like a little jar of preserves. I keep talking about a jar of preserves because that's just what I can so picture in this. But the two projects by no means have to be, you know, done together. So whatever you feel like doing or not doing. So anyway, I'm going to shut up now, and then I'm sure there's going to be another hi, welcome here in just a minute, because I really had not anticipated doing this explanation video. So please forgive the awkward flow of the video, and have a wonderful time making your mini album. All right. Thanks so much, and see you soon. All right, my crazy crafting buddies, let's get started on a mini album. I'm going to do a 6.5 by 6.5 mini with the rest of our BoBunny Farmers Market collection. And I am going to just go ahead and get the covers wrapped first. I always like to at least put the paper aside so I don't accidentally use it up for something else. And I have decided that I would like that on the back cover and that on the front cover. And then on the spine, I want this nice stripe. Okay? So I'm doing this one. I'm piecing the papers just a little bit different than I typically do. So I'm going to start with the spine on this one. And I've put my tape on already. I've used the inch wide because I need to get some more of the 6x6 sheets. And I'm just going to go ahead and do some glue in the center there. It's my art glitter glue. So let's peel this tape backing off. And I know this probably seems a little odd. Like I said, it's not how I typically do it, but it's how I'm doing it this time. Oh, I guess I should give you some measurements, shouldn't I? I'm so sorry. The covers are both 6.5 by 6.5, and the spine is 3 by 6.5. So I've cut the pattern paper. For the spine, it's 5 by 8. And for the two covers, it's 8 by 7.25. I'll show you why here in just a minute. All right, and as usual, I'm just eyeballing it, and it's not straight. Look at that. I can tell that because those dots go in a row. So I needed to make sure I was covering up about the same amount of dot. Alright, so I'm just putting down the spine first. Now, I think I'm going to ink things. And since the vintage photo worked so well with the other papers that we've used out of the collection so far for our mini crate, I'm just going to continue on with the vintage photo. Now, we don't need to ink here and here because those are going to get wrapped around. But these are going to wrap to my front and back covers. So I would just like to get rid of that white edge. Can't stand that cut edge on anything, especially since it's going to be on my cover. So I'm just going to get rid of that right there. Okay. Alright, so there's my spine wrapped. I'm going to set it aside for just a second. And I've already got my tape on my covers. Now, let me have a look here. Alright. Now, I've cut the paper to be 3/4 of an inch at the top overhang and 3/4 inch at the bottom and 3/4 inch at one end. But I'm going to take this edge, the inside edges, and put it right along the edge of the chipboard. So the reason I wanted to put them face up first, because I want these patterns to be in the corners front and back. So I do it this way, and then I flip the whole thing over so I don't mess up my papers because I'm a mess and I'm liable to mess up my papers. So these are our inside edges, the edges that are going towards the spine. And both of our chipboard pieces are square. They're 6.5 by 6.5, so it doesn't really matter. There's no direction on those. There we go. But let me do one at a time. Just scoot this over. I want to take it all the way to the edge. Just like so. And just kind of eyeballing to center it top to bottom. Put that down. And then we're going to do the same thing over here, but to the opposite edge. Now these will be our inside edges. Okay. Now, you can't cut this in one piece. Not on 12 by 12 paper anyway. So, I could have pieced it to make this a little wider. I'm not sure why I didn't. But it's not going to matter because we have that spine piece that's going to overlap. Alright, so both pieces are down. We're just going to carry on wrapping like we would any cover. Alright. Well, not quite like we would any cover. We got to put this down. This is the next part. Now on this one, I am going to take my 1/2 inch tape. Uh-oh, I'm going to have to go get another roll of tape, aren't I? We might be able to make it. Because I just, well, let's see. Let's put it right up again. Oh, no, 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 no. What am I thinking? What am I thinking? That doesn't go there, y'all. Okay. Whew. I got lucky. Didn't even have to grab the undo. Alright. Want it all the way to the edge. All the way. Where's my ruler? Where's my ruler? There's my ruler. Okay. All the way to the edge. Alright. And then I'm going to get my 1/4 inch, I think. And I'm going to put this one I'm going to leave a gap, because remember how we always like to leave a gap between our spine and our cover when we're wrapping. So I'm going to put this one here, because we got to leave at least an 1/8 of an inch gap, but no more than a 1/4 of an inch gap. So I'm going to put that right there. Alright. And I guess it really doesn't matter which way this goes, because it's a stripe or a stripe, so there's not really a top or a bottom. Alright, let's just do one side at a time. Now, what I want to do is I want to line this up right at the edge. Now, I don't really care if these pieces line up. What's important is that our chipboard lines up, okay? So I want that one right there. I want that one right there. Alright, and you can see this is just a smidge up here and a smidge in here. Doesn't matter. The line I'm worried about is my chipboard. So, and of course we're going to burnish. Alright, now we can put this other one on. And again, I'm not worried about my pattern paper lining up at the top and bottom. I'm worried about my chipboard lining up at the top and the bottom. So, let's put that one right there. And I'm trying to get it straight and go to the edge of my tape. And there is that one. Looky there, looky there. Now, how was that for some fall color right there? That beautiful orange. Love it, love it, love it. Alrighty. I am going to trim my edges with my X-Acto knife. Okay. Are y'all having fun yet? Oh my goodness. We can wrap us some chipboard, can't we? I did the crate earlier today, so I have wrapped and wrapped and wrapped today. Actually, I'm probably just going to do the cover, maybe cut some pages, maybe not, tonight. And I think I'm going to go sit on my butt and watch TV and maybe knit a little something something. Because I've been sitting at this table a lot today. Alright, so let's go ahead then and put our tape right up against there, right up against our chipboard, like so, and then one at the very edge, like so. Boy, that wasn't very close, was it? I said at the very edge, and then look at that. You can see a sliver of pattern paper there. See, this is why I shouldn't craft too late. I'm liable to get real creative, not in a good way. Alright. Let's put this down. Alright, we're getting there, folks. We're getting there. Sorry. I probably shouldn't make you watch all this mess. So I hope y'all got to see the crate. I hope you liked the crate. I hope you made you a crate. And if you did, don't forget, I want to see pictures. I'm like a naggy old mom. I want pictures. I want pictures. All these projects you do are like my grandkids. I need to see pictures of them. Oh, goodness. I just love to see, everybody comes up with different ideas, you know. You see something, it gives you an idea, so you do that, and then somebody else sees that. We just keep passing around ideas and inspiration, and who knows what we can come up with. We might save the planet or something. Who knows? All right. Let's... Woo! All right. Go ahead and roll this up. Let's get rid of all the tape backing here. All right. Gets in my way. Uh-oh, I didn't push that down good enough. Can't get the back off of it. There it is. Can't get the back off. It's just not stuck down good enough, that's all. Alright. So, get it warmed up a little. Now see, sometimes I take when I do a separate paper for the spine, sometimes I take the cover papers all the way to the center. But I didn't tonight, and I think we're going to be just fine. I'm not going to have that extra bulk in there. Of course, it doesn't hurt to have a second layer in that bendy part, but I don't think it'll cause us any problems. Let's see what happens. Alright. Don't forget to tuck in our edges. Gotta tuck it or they'll stick out and look silly. I'm not gonna have any silly sticky out parts. Okay. Oh, get it started here. Push my tape in. Alright. Are y'all bored to tears? I think I've run out of interesting conversation for the day. I only get a certain amount a day, and I must have used it all up. Of course, that's, you know, probably flattering myself that the conversation we had in the last video was interesting. Oh, goodness, I've been fussing with that tape trying to get it uploaded. I sat and waited for it to format and format and format and format just to find out that I had a bunch of other stuff in there I didn't want. I'd loaded up extra stuff. Man, I tell you, I'm a mess. But got it situated. It's all sorted now, and it's formatting all over again. I'll get that sucker on YouTube yet. Alright. There's that. Do the other end. Sometimes it's just quicker to do it that way. Boy, I bet that's fun to watch, isn't it? Hitting the camera. You're probably going to have a headache by the time I get this thing done, aren't you? Alright. There it is. That's just the cover. I will get the paper for the binding cut, and we'll worry about where to score that and everything. Now, since this has got tape in it, if you'll just give it a little push right there before you go to fold these sides up, it'll keep you from getting a gap in there. Alright, so just fold that in nice. Flip it around to the other side. Fold it in, fold it in. Burnish, burnish, burnish. Fold it in. Alright. That should be it. Oh, perfection. Look at that. I think that's going to be cute. The reason I decided to go with this orange right here is because I really want to use one of the layered chipboard sticker thingies. I want this one. I want Autumn is Here, and I already went around and inked it just a little bit. That's going somewhere on my cover. Not 100% sure where just yet. And I've ordered some burlap, some 4-inch wide burlap from eBay, because I'm going to show you the cutest little burlap flower. But there's the beginning of our cover. I'm just going to set that aside. We're not going to be putting any pages in for quite a while. Like I said, I just like to do my covers because I don't want to use up the paper. You know, I'll get busy crafting and making my pages and decorating and this and that, and then I'll use up what I wanted for my covers. So I just wanted to do that first. We're going to get it out of the way. I'm going to pick up this big old mess and start working on my page design, you know, and I can tell you right now, I think we're going to do 6 pages in this one. I usually do 5, but I wanted to make them a little less interactive. I have an idea of a page design that I'm kicking around in my head. So, excuse me, and you know I gotta throw this stuff away. I can't have it laying around. I can't concentrate with a mess. I'm going to make them less bulky and thick. They'll be a little less interactive, a little simpler, but the way this paper is designed, I wanted to keep it a little cleaner and neater and not quite so busy inside. I don't know, I just think that's what it called for. So we're going to have 6 pages, and we're just going to kind of spread things out a little as opposed to trying to get so much on each page. So I will see you all, well, it'll be half a second in film time, but it'll probably be tomorrow for me. So, I guess we'll be doing pages next. All right, stay tuned for that. All right, so we are moving right along with our Farmers Market mini album. And here's where I left off. We had just wrapped the spine and the covers. Okay. So now what I've done is I have cut a strip of cardstock for our binding. I cut this at 5 7/8. Okay, 5 7/8 by 11, because I'm using 8.5 by 11 sheets. And I was just going to score this with you. All right. So I want you to score, this is our binding strip. We're going to score it at 1 inch. Then we're going to score at 1 1/4 inches. Now we're going to go by 1/2 inches all the way up until we get to 10 inches. So we've got the 11-inch side up along the top of our scoreboard, okay? We've scored at 1 inch. We've scored at 1 1/4, right? We're going to go to 1 3/4. I was going to scoot mine down because I can't get right up to the edge. All right, and then 2 1/4, 2 3/4, 3 1/4. Ooh, I jumped a line. I hate it when I do that. I think I need to get a better scoreboard, and I'm looking into my options. 3 3/4, 4 1/4. As you can see, I almost always do 2 scores on each one. 4 3/4, just to make sure a good groove is in there. 5 1/4, 5 3/4. Lost my place there for a second. 6 1/4. 6 3/4. I know this is getting really boring, but you know, we got to get there. 7 1/4, 7 3/4, 8 1/4, 8 3/4, 9 1/4, 9 3/4, and then our 10. Now, what you might notice is that we've got all these 1/2 inch spaces except for at the beginning and the end, and we have quarter spaces. All right, let me tell you what these are. This is going to be our hinges. We're having 6 hinges, all right, because we're having 6 pages. So this first little 1/4 inch is the space between, let me show you, right here where our book bends and our first page. Then I'm allowing a 1/2 inch for how tall our hinges are going to be. All right, so we've got a little gap for between the first page and the cover. Then we've got our first hinge. then we've got a 1/2 inch between each of our pages, all right? So this is going to, the first 2 1/2 inches are going to be 1 hinge, then a 1/2 inch gusset. The next 2 are going to be our 2nd hinge, and then a gusset, our 3rd hinge, and a gusset, our 4th hinge, a gusset, our 5th hinge, a gusset, and then our very last hinge. And I seem to have a hard time explaining this correctly when I give a class. So, because I have everybody confused. It is a little complicated when you first look at it. All right. Here is how I try and eliminate the confusion for myself. Because, you know, you're just looking at a bunch of spaces, a bunch of lines. I like to look at what's going to be my first hinge. Okay. So we've got this little space, and I know these 2 1/2 inches are going to be my hinge. So I just like to go ahead and fold my first hinge. Now it's important that these folds are straight. So line your paper up when you make your fold at the top and at the bottom. Because what happens is, if you don't get your fold straight, your binding won't stay straight. It can kind of fan. It might get wider at the bottom, might get wider at the top, whatever. But I like to fold my first hinge first, okay? And then I'm going to tape it down. So I'm going to open it back up. And you know what? I'm going to grab 1/2 inch tape. I don't want 1/4 inch. I want 1/2 inch tape. Now, the fold where we just folded, if tape goes over that a little bit, it is not going to hurt anything because we're attaching this side of the hinge to that side of the hinge. What we don't want to do is we don't want to go over our score line that goes up next to a gusset. If it's the score line that's between our 2 sides, it's okay. So I'm going to lay my score tape, and since this is such a light color, you may not be able to see that very well, but I'm putting it right at the edge of the score line. All right. Let me see if I get a close-up of that, if you can see what I'm talking about. There's my score line, and it's on the inside edge. And it's overlapping that score line in the center of my hinge. But that's okay, because that's just tape on tape. So, I've already folded it once and creased it down to get it trained so that my fold is straight. All right. Now, here's what I do because I find this easier. I go ahead and put the tape on like that, and then I just push down on my hinge, and that does my other 2 folds for me. Okay? So see, I didn't actually fold it right here and fold it right here. The only fold I made was in the middle of the hinge, and then I used it as a handle to push it down, and it makes my other folds for me. But then just to make sure they're good, I turn it all the way to one side and crease it down, and I turn it all the way to the other side and crease it down. We want flexibility in that hinge because that's what our pages are going to be attached to, and you know, that's how they turn. Okay? All right. So now I know that the next line is the end of my gusset. So I don't want to fold there. I want to fold the next one. Okay? So if you look at the back, here's where we just folded. We're going to skip the next one. Okay? Because that's our gusset, that next space. And we're going to fold on the next line. And again, I line it up top and bottom, crease it down so I make sure, see that, you know, my binding isn't going to start going this way. It's not going to start going this way. It's going to stay consistently straight. All right, now I know for sure which line it is. Now I'll go to the back and put my score tape on there. Inevitably, I get people sticking the wrong ones together when they first start out, but you've got to visualize where you're trying to end up. and then it does make it easier. Now, if you're comfortable with this process at this point, you can go ahead and lay down on all your tape, which is what I typically do. I find that a little bit easier. But, you know, until you're comfortable with it, you just go ahead and do one at a time if you want to. All right, see, now that one goes to that one. That one's a space, so the next one I need is right there. So on the back side, you're skipping 2 spaces before you put your tape. You'll have tape, skip, skip, tape. All right, skip, skip, tape. Skip, skip, tape. This is our last one. Oh no, looky there, I just ran out a 1/2 inch. Well, I've got more over there, but I don't want to go get it right this second. So, I'm just going to go ahead and fold with you all till we get to that point, and I'll do that here in a minute. So, there we go. But I really do, now I'm going to do my trick again. I'm not going to worry about folding. I'm just going to grab that and let it do the folding for me. So, ha ha ha. How lazy am I? Well, why fold 3 when you can fold the one in the middle and then it'll do it for you, right? Seriously. I'm not lazy, I'm efficient. That would be a total waste of energy. Now, before I take this back off, and see, I was talking and almost forgot, I wanna fold it first and get it trained, and you know that's easier to do before you put the score tape on, so, should have thought of that. Alright, line it up, top and bottom, get it straight before I crease it down, burnish, burnish, burnish. Okay, there we go. Now take the tape off. And make sure it's straight. You cannot check to see if it's straight too many times. Promise you that. And then just push it down, and it does the folding for me. Efficient, not lazy. Efficient. Don't care what anybody says. Okay, this is just some yummy paper, Tamara. You were so right about this paper. Love it. All right. And I'm going to continue on. Whoop, whoop, whoop. See, I cannot talk and do any darn thing. Alright. I think you should really fold it before you put your tape down, because it doesn't necessarily like to fold with that tape backing on there. Uh-oh. See? Now, almost got crooked. Did you see that where this one wasn't lined up? But I caught it. And there we go. We've got that fixed. Alright. So that is the process for making our binding system. Alright. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. And it's doing pretty good. It's not fanning one way or the other, so we're doing fine. I am going to grab my 1/4 inch tape and finish that up in a minute. I'm not ready to put the binding on anything yet. I was just going to give you the dimensions of how I cut it and show you how we fold it. Alright, so the other thing I've now cut are our base pages. So I wanted to show you that. You're going to want to do 6 pieces of cardstock that measure 6 by 6. Okay? Simple, simple, simple. 6 that are 6 by 6. Okay. Now you're also going to want to do 6 that are 7 by 6.5. Okay? And, oh, I just thought of something. We only need 3. We only need 3 that are this size. The other ones can be 6 by 7. Dang it. I wasted a little bit of paper. So, let me fix that real quick. So again, we're going to need 3 that are 6.5 by 7. And we're going to need 3 that are 6 by 7. All right, so there's my 6.5 inch side. I'm going to take that down to 6. Is that right? You know what? I'm going to check on that because it could go either way. It depends on how I want to design my page. So before I cut all 3 of those, I'll still be fine here. Thinking. No, I do. I want to take them all down to, okay, 6 by 7. All right, 6 by 7, 6 by 7. Yep. Make sure I don't cut the wrong side. All right. So 3 that are 6 by 7 and 3 that are 6.5 by 7. All right. Now, on the ones that are 6 by 7, you're going to want to take and put the 7-inch side at the top of your score pile, scoreboard, whatever you got going. And you're going to want to score at 6.5. Okay. And see, I've already got schmutz on the paper. Don't know where I picked that up. Anyway, you got a half and you got a 6.5. All right, so there's the half and the 6.5. Do that on all 3 of these. All right, so we've got a half and a 6.5. Helps if you don't have stuff in the way. All right. And a half. And a 6.5. And I said it backwards. I'm saying 6.5 while I'm scoring on a half and vice versa, but I think you'll figure it out. Now, on the 3 that are 6.5 by 7, you're going to score the 7-inch side the same way. You're going to score it at 6.5 and a half, or the other way around, half and then 6.5. But then you're going to turn it, and this is the 6.5 inch side across the top now, and score it at 6. Okay? So this one, you're basically scoring a ½ inch in on 3 sides. All right, so this is our 7-inch side. I'm going to score it at 6.5, and I'm scoring it at a half. I'm turning it around to 6.5, and I'm scoring at 6. Okay? And then here's our last one on the 7-inch side. We've got 6.5 and a half. And on the 6.5 inch side, we're scoring at 6. All right. I will show you what we're doing with those here in just a minute. I am going to go find my ½ inch score tape and do my last little hinge, and I shall return. Alrighty. Let's see where we're at now. Alright, so this is our binding after all of the folds have been done. And I did go around the edges with some vintage photo just very lightly. These probably aren't going to show at all, but I went ahead and hit them just in case. These right here will show in between your pages. So if you're inking, you may just want to hit those. Okay. Now, lay it down the way it's going to go in your book. Alright, so you put all the fins to one side, lay it down, and we are going to tape up the back. And I like to go across, instead of up and down along with the folds, I like to go across them. For some reason, I've got it in my head, it just holds everything together better. And I don't know if that's right or wrong, but that's what I do. So, we want pretty much the whole back covered up. And let's see, I think maybe 2 more in there. We don't have to cover every single square inch. I will fill in with a little glue. Woo! Fill in with a little bit of glue. If you have those sheets, if I had any sheets left, I would have gone ahead and used those though. Alright, there we go. So that is down, and where's my glue bottle? There it is. All right. And I'm just going to add this in a little bit. Oh, you know what? That's easier if I take the back off. Sorry about that. It has been very rainy and wet here, and so everything in the house feels a little damp. That's really a pain in the butt when you're working with paper, you know? But such is life. Now, those little score marks that we didn't actually fold, the very end ones where there's a 1/4 inch gap, I do those to help just make sure I can line everything up. And where they're going to line up, or in the vicinity, it's not going to be exact, but it should be right around the edge of your spine right there. So it does help me to kind of get it straight and to get it centered, at least side to side, and then you got to eyeball top to bottom. Okay, about right there is what I'm thinking. And then just burnish, 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 and then burnish some more. Alright, so get that adhered just as well as you can. And then we're going to set it aside, and we're not going to mess with it for a while. We're going to put our pages together. Okay, so there's that. One more. Oh, I forgot to mention, it will be stiff again to fold because you've added a layer in that crease. So you may just want to give it a quick little hand. Give it a hand there. There we have it. I got a speck of something on my book. I tell you what, I hope I make it with this light colored cardstock. It's a first for me, y'all. Oh, goodness, goodness, goodness. All right. It's progress. All right. Set it aside. Now, if you recall, all right, let me wipe this down one more time. I've wiped it down, but obviously there's still some schmutz on here. Grab my baby wipe. Try to get anything off of here that I can. Alright. Sorry, I should have done that without the camera rolling. Okay. There's always schmutz on my mat. Alright. Now dry, 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 dry. Okay, so we have 6 6x6 pieces, right? And then we have 3, and I don't know where they are. Hold on a minute. Now I gotta find them. Let me get my stuff together here. All right, we have 6 that are 6x6. We have 3 that are 6.5x7, and they're scored on 3 sides. So let's start with those. First thing I'm going to do is where the score lines come together and form an X, I'm going to cut right through the X. And that is going to give us a mitered corner. Okay. Alrighty. One more, one more. Okay. Get those out of the way. Now grab your bone folder and let's just go ahead and get those folded back. So this is our valley. This is our mountain. Over the mountain. Lay it down with the mountain up and fold. Over the mountain. And burnish. Okay. Same thing on the other side. And same thing at the bottom. Now, these 3, all right, are going to attach to 3 of the 6x6 pieces on 2 sides. And here is why. All right, this is going to be the side, this is going to be the bottom, this is going to be the top. So we're going to leave it open because it's going to make a pocket page. This side is going to go to the hinge, all right, but I want to attach it to the hinge. Now we could have left this flap off and just attached these 2 pieces to the hinge. The reason I chose not to do that is because where it was attached would take up like 1/2 inch, all right, or somewhere in the vicinity of 1/2 inch, and our pull-out wouldn't slide in centered. By doing it this way, we're going to allow it to open on both sides so that our insert won't be lopsided within the page. It'll go down evenly in there, and it'll allow us to make a little bit wider of an insert. So on the 3 that have the 3 score lines as opposed to the 3 that have the 2, I want you to attach your score tape to one of the 2 sides and the bottom. Okay, now which side depends on which way we're going to have it. If we want this on the front of the page or if we want this on the back of the page. Not that it really matters, but just to make a decision, I'm going to say they go on the back of the page. All right, if they're on the back of the page, then you're going to want to have your glue on the right side and the bottom. Okay, so just go ahead and on all 3 of these pieces, put your score tape on the side and on the bottom, like so. Okay. Now, on the 3 pieces that just have 2 scores on them, you can go ahead and score them both, or fold them both, I should say, and put your tape on both of those. All right. All right, just like so. On these pages, the open end is going to be to the side. So we're going to have 3 pages that open for an insert at the top, and we're going to have 3 pages that open for an insert on the side. All right. And we're actually going to alternate them. Let's see. All right, so since they're going on the back, let's make it consistent. Let's put all of them on the back. So this will be page 1. Okay. Oops, got it sideways. Page 1, this is going to go to our binding, and our insert's going to go in this way. Okay. And I thought about doing the fold on 3 sides. Remember, I had cut these different, and then I sat and thought about it and changed my mind. If the bottom is attached on a side pull, it will make our mat just a hair shorter, but that's okay. That's all right. We can live with that. So page 1 will have a side pull. Page 2 will have a top pull. All right. And they will alternate as such. And then when you flip page 1, there we go. All right. Just go ahead and go through all of them and get them folded back and taped, and then we'll start assembling. All right. I'll be back. All right. We are also going to incorporate a flap on each of our 6 base pages. So you're going to need to cut 6 more pieces of your cardstock, and these 6 pieces need to be 4.5 by 6.5. Okay, 4.5 by 6.5, and you're going to want to score at 6 inches. Okay, so I'm just scoring the last one with you, and You put the 6.5 inch piece or side, 6.5 inch side at the top, score at 6 inches. All right. Now, you can go ahead and fold all of these back. All right. And this time, when you attach your score tape, I want you, now on the ones that we did before, we folded our flaps back and we put our tape on the outside of the fold. Okay, so here's the fold, tape's on the outside. For these 6 pieces, I would like you to score on the score line, and I would like for you to put your score tape then on the inside. I can't find the end of this. Can you tell? There it is. On the inside then of the flap. Here's our little rule of thumb. Okay? When we are attaching something like this to the top of a page or top of a piece of paper, then our score tape goes on the outside. Okay? These flaps are going to be attached to the back side of something. Okay? The flap itself is going to go on the front, but we're attaching on the back. So that's why our score tape is going to go on the inside. So go ahead and fold all 6 of those and put your score tape on the inside of each of those folds. Okay. All right, so let's attach or let's assemble our base pages. So for the 3 pieces that have folds on 3 sides, and we have tape on the right side and on the bottom. Okay, here's how I like to assemble my pages. I like to put the flat piece on top, center it as best I can all the way around. It may not come out exact. If your pieces have been cut just slightly different, or if your folds might be just a teeny bit crooked, then, you know, I like to center it all the way around. Then I kind of reach underneath and I grab the back of my score tape. All right, and remember, if you cannot get that back off, you need to burnish it. So let me just do that because the back was not wanting to peel off for me. So let's start again. All right, so center it all the way around. Okay, reach underneath, grab your score tape backing, slip it off, push it down, and then do the same on the bottom. Or you can start on the bottom and then do the side. That part really doesn't matter. All right, so there's one down. Okay, I've done the other 2. So the next step, I want you to flip it over so that the part with the foldy tabs is up. I'm never going to be able to keep this clean. Okay, anyway, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put a flap on this, but we're putting it on the back. I changed my mind. Just a second ago, I said the first page is going to pull from the side. For some reason, I think I'm going to like it better if our first page pulls from the top. You can do yours however you want, but since I want my first page pulling from the top, that means my binding's over here. I want the flap on the back of the page. So I'm going to attach it to the part that has the 3 flaps. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of eyeball and center that. Okay, and this piece is 4.5 by 6.5, but we've scored it at 6, so it comes out 6 inches long. So I know about where I want it. This one, unfortunately, I can't reach under and sneak the tape off. So, you just have to be careful. Kind of eyeball it. And then I usually go ahead and fold it, making sure everything's straight, and then I push it down. Alright, so now we have a flap attached to the back side of our page that's going to pull from the top. Okay? And you need 3 of those. So let's see if I have 3 of those. Here's 2. Okay. Oh, nope, that's the other one. What's this one? That's the other one. Here we go. All right, so it's on the back of our page. That's good. And on the back of our page, that's good. All right, now let's assemble the other type, and this one is actually going to open from the side. Okay, so you can put your piece down there, get everything centered, straight as you can, hold it down in the center, pull off the tape backing, stick it down, and stick it down. Okay. Now, we're going to also put a flap on this one. And we're going to put it going that way. Alright, so it's going to be where the pull-out is as well. I'm just going to turn it this way because it's easier. It's actually going to be on the side of the page, but for construction purposes, I just want to do it this way. Alright. Uh-oh. I was trying to scoot that up to get it in the frame and scooted it apart. Get it centered, get it kind of straight, push it down. Alright, so here is what we now have. Page 1 with a flap on the back. Page 2 with a flap on the front that goes the other way. So when we open up, we're going to have this situation going on. Okay? And I'm just going to alternate that throughout my book. Alright, so that's our base pages, boys and girls. Okay, we got a smooth side on the front, then we got flaps, then we'll have two smooth sides together, then we'll have two flappy doos, then we'll have two flat sides together, and then we'll have, there we go, two flappy doos. So that is going to be how we assemble our book. On to the next step. Alright, now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and attach my pages to my book. Some people prefer to decorate, mat, get their pages all done before they put them in the book, and I understand that. You know, it makes it easier for them to work on the pages. However, I'm a little different in that I have a hard time I don't like a lot of pieces, parts laying all around. I end up with enough clutter when I am making a book, and it's just more stuff to confuse me. So I like to go ahead and get them in the book in the order I want them, because I'm liable to decorate and then like have the wrong back on the wrong front or whatever. I just like to go ahead and put them in my book. I feel like it's a little more contained, a little more complete. It's more organized for my thought process, I guess. I totally get why other people do it the other way. My brain just doesn't work as well that way. So what I would like to do first is just go through and put the score tape on all of the hinges or fins, whatever you want to call them, front and back. So just go through and do that first. I like to avoid getting them too close to the score line because I don't assemble my pages all the way down to the bottom. I like to put them on the way they're going to lay so that I know they will lay flat. So they don't always make it all the way down there. So when I put my score tape on, I put it closer to the top edge. I don't put it all the way to the top edge. I put it closer to the top edge than to the bottom. Okay. Alright, so now that you have your score tape on front and back, all your pages, pick up your pages and they are stacked the way we want them to appear in the book. Make sure that they're stacked in such a way to where your flaps go towards the top, not towards the bottom. Okay, this is going to be page 1, but I like to put my pages in from the back side moving forward, so I'm going to flip them over And I'm going to start with my last page first. Okay, and my last page is going to be one that pulls on the side, and I know this by the way the flap's going anyway. Okay, we have cut these 1/8 of an inch shorter than our pages, so they should slip on without any trouble. If you encounter one that's a little bit tight, do not become concerned. All you have to do is take your scissor and do just a teeny little miter of the edge. So you would just take that corner off at an angle, all right? All right, now, what I do is I put them on there and with the score tape on, and I make sure they're going straight. They're not going uphill, they're not going downhill, they're straight. Okay, get it in position, then I reach in and I just use my nail and pull up that score tape. You can use a tool, you can use whatever. Some people prefer to take their score tape off first, but since I like to apply my pages while they're in the flat position, I don't put my pages on like this. I watch a lot of people do that, and that's fine if it's comfortable for you. However, I want to make sure everything's straight, so I put them on in a prone position. Then I flip it over, okay? And this fold is slightly crooked. So even though my page is straight this way, my page is a little crooked that way. Do you see that? But that means that this fold isn't really straight. Something somewhere is off. Now I can push it a little bit to try and fix it and recrease that. But you're probably not going to be able to get all of it out. Don't be overly concerned. Nobody's going to notice by the time you get everything decorated, okay? So get it where you want it, reach in there, and pull that off. And I believe the reason that happened, I noticed some of my folds weren't 100%, and I believe it's because I was creasing them after the score tape was on, and that the backing of the score tape was making it thick so they weren't folding nicely. So note to self, make those folds before you put that score tape on, and I think you'll have less difficulty. Now, I knocked my pages out of whack, so I need to make sure everything's right. So I just grabbed them, turned them back over to where the top page was on the front. I hit them with the edge of the book and knocked them. Okay, so I just want to make sure I'm on track. Now, this page is a little different because we're attaching one side of the hinge to this flat, and we're applying the other one to this ridge. And it's not closed at the top, so it's going to be a slightly different feel putting it on. Don't be overly concerned about it. Okay, just do it the same. Get it positioned the way you want it. Let's see, I want that on the inside. I'm looking to make sure that this hinge is going on the inside of this fold right here and not catching this outside lip and trying to force it open or anything. So just to make sure that that goes smoothly, I'm going to go ahead and miter this like I was saying that you could do if it was a little snug. I'm just going to miter it because it's going up against that little folded piece. So I want to make sure it has room to get in there, do what it needs to do, and function correctly. Alright, so I want to line this page up with the one below it. I want to make sure it's flat, and we're attaching to the flat surface on this side. So just reach in there, remove my tape backing, and hold my breath, press it down. Burnish, burnish, burnish. And see what I mean by my page not going all the way to the score line? That's why I didn't want my tape resting down there. Now on this side, we're just going to be extra careful, make sure everything's lined up where we want it to be. Make sure our page is semi-straight, looks pretty good, and stick it down. Alright, we are going to repeat this process all the way to the front of the book. Alright, So go ahead and put on the other 4 pages. Your next one is going to be another plain against the plain, and it's got the flap in the front. Okay, we're working backwards. So let's get the rest of these stuck down. All right, so now we have all of our pages in our book. We have our flaps on our pages. Let me just flip through it and show you where we're at. All right, so page 1, insert at the top, back side, flip 1. Page 2, flip 2, open at the side. The reason I've done this is so, see, a square album can be used for landscape and portrait pictures. So I put it in this way so that we would have portrait, landscape, and then either or, these can go whichever way, portrait, landscape, again with whatever, and then portrait, landscape. And I just thought it would be cool if our pullouts kind of went along with that. I don't know. Now, on these flat pages, I may end up putting some more flips and folds and whatever. I could end up putting more flips, folds, pockets as we go. But this is just our base to get us started and to have some consistency from the beginning to the end of our book. Okay? So that's where we're at. We will start matting our pages, putting some design paper down. I'm probably going to use magnets here. Magnets here. Okay, so that means we're going to need what? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 magnets. Minimum 12 magnets. Okay? And I think it's time to start getting our papers out because boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, we got a book going here. All right, be back for the next step. All right, so the next thing I decided I wanted to do before I got started with my pattern paper was to go ahead and go in and put my magnets on the flaps. All right. The reason I wanted to do that is because as you're flipping through the book, if these are loose, they're liable to get caught and bend corners and stuff. So just because I know I'm going to want to put magnets on all of them anyway, I just went ahead and put magnets on all my flaps. I did save the very last one to do on camera just in case there's somebody watching that hasn't used magnets in their albums before. So you don't have to worry about positive and negative because we're going to let the magnets do the work. So just get a magnet. Step 1, get your magnet. I'm going to put it on the inside of the flap. I want to put it far enough down from the edge that I'll have no trouble getting it all nice and covered with my pattern paper. And I do try and center it somewhat. Not a fanatic about it. Just get it centered pretty much. All right, so I don't know if you noticed, but I put glue on the back of the magnet. I attached it where I wanted it. Then I put tape over it. Okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab its mate and just, you know, stick it on there. It knows negative and positive. It knows the way it needs to go. So then I put a dab of glue on there. And I simply fold the flap like I want it to fold to close. And that little dab of glue, now it's hard to see because we're white on white here, but oh yeah, that just really didn't help, did it? Sorry, I blocked out the light. Anyway, the glue marks the spot. And so you just put that down and remember glue to glue, right? And then the right side will be facing the magnet that you want it to join to. So then just put you some tape on it and boom, your magnet is done. And now you don't have to worry about remembering to do it before you put your pattern paper on because it's already been done. How easy was that? So yeah, we've got the six flappy doos all done. Now, when I go to do my pages and decide where I want pockets and where I want flaps and where I want little hidden elements, A lot of it has to do with the mood of the paper. If the paper is very complex and complicated graphics and layers and layers and layers, if it seems very busy and complicated, then I want a page that's a little complicated and busy. The papers that we're working with today, this BoBunny Farmers Market, is not what I would consider a highly complex paper. I mean, it's cute as it can be. It doesn't have like all kinds of different stuff going on at the same time. I mean, you do have a flower on top of a paisley background, and the leaves have different textures, and it's got a button in the middle. But it's not like you've got a whole lot. Well, now, you've got layers, don't get me wrong. Like on this one, you can see some print underneath. It's not like it's just a flat, boring paper. Not at all. But it's just a little simpler in design. It's what I'd call clean lines, specific edges to it in a lot of them. And so I just feel that the page design should be uncomplicated. You know? It should match the mood of the paper. So I'm probably not going to put a whole lot of interaction. I do like to get at least like 30 pictures in a mini album. You know, back in the day when we had rolls of film, does anybody remember that anymore? But a large roll was like 36 shots and a regular roll was 24 shots. So I figure a mini album should at least get a roll of film in it. Like an event, you would use a roll of film, right? So I'm thinking at least 30 pictures. Well, I've got 6 pages. So if you break it down and do the math, since I'm an accountant, you know I did the math, that's 5 per page. And you know you've got at least 1 per page in the insert. So that leaves 4 per page, which means 2 front and back. Well, that is simple, so easy to get. And I did the 6 by 6 pages so you could get full-size pictures as opposed to having to crop your pictures and do little 3 by 4s and this and that. So this is going to be a pretty simple basic album. And we're pretty much looking at 1 or 2 pictures per page. And then, of course, decorative elements. So I'm probably going to go with some pretty basic matting and maybe some cute little photo corners on the inside covers. I don't know, maybe a waterfall, maybe a little layered element, something, but the pages are going to stay pretty basic. I think we should probably go ahead and cut our inserts, and then we're just going to start with the matting and decorating of our pages. The one thing that I did want to do, one of these papers that has all these cut aparts, they had so many cute ones that I really wanted to incorporate them. So I have some tags. I want tags to happen in this album. I'm looking for the paper now. Of course, since I said it, it's not where, there we go. All right. These are too cute. And so I want to mount a lot of these on cardstock so that you have journaling spaces, because a lot of these were made to journal. So I'm going to need some tuck spots. These kind of remind me of a flap. These need to kind of be flaps for me. So I'm kind of going to incorporate that. And these just look like toppers to like long skinny journaling tags again. And then these are looking like little tags. On the sticker sheet, there were a couple of stickers that looked like you could do like swing tabs with them. But I've used magnets on my flaps, so I may not incorporate these. See, those reminded me of swing tabs. Put a brad there, and then, you know. I may not get everything into this album. We may have to do just a tiny little wallet size as well out of this paper, which, you know, break my heart to make something else really cute. But for now, I'm going to start with my basic matting and see what the paper tells me to do, and I'll bring you with me through the process. I think we should make that the next video, though. I think this one's probably long enough. We've got our base element. I think I'm going to go ahead and cut it here and do the rest in part 2. All right. Thanks so much. Ciao for now.